What's up, everyone? It has been a great weekend of football. We had the XFL playoffs, the North and South Division championships, as well as USFL Week 3. Logan will be on shortly here, but let's get it started talking about those games, and then we'll get into a bunch of NFL news and we will recap the 2023 NFL draft at the end with our favorite picks and whatnot. So just to start off in the XFL, the South Division Championship on Saturday, the Renegades with a stunner in Houston, 26-11 over the Roughnecks, just dominated from the start. Luis Perez playing his best game of the season, whether that be when he was with the Vegas Vipers or with the Arlington Renegades. I think this was definitely the best spot he had all year. 19 of 27, 70.4%, 289 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 2 carries for 13 yards. The quarterbacks for Houston struggled mightily. Brandon Silvers really didn't play a lot in this game. 3 of 6, 50%, 22 yards. It was Cole McDonald most of the way, and he was atrocious. 9 of 25, 36% completion, 82 yards, 1 pick, 7 carries, 47 yards, and a 2-point conversion. But yeah, Houston really could not get anything going on the offensive side of the ball. And the defense was getting shredded by Perez in that passing game. Also getting shredded by the running game. Davion Smith having himself a nice game, 24 carries, 94 yards, 1 catch for -2 yards there, leading the game in rushing. And another guy who, just like Luis Perez, did not start the season on the Renegades, Javonte Payton. He started the year on the Orlando Guardians, traded to the Renegades there. 5 catches, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns on 5 targets, and a 2-point conversion run as well. He led the game in receiving there. I want to mention Jeremy Cox did score the only touchdown for the Roughnecks here. And defensively, got to go with the losing side. Houston linebacker John Daka, 3 tackles, 1 solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Want to mention the top guy there, the guy that tied for the lead in tackles in this one, Arlington linebacker Donald Payne, 10 tackles, 7 solos. He came back for this game, was on the injured reserve list, but got back for this game and played a pivotal role in shutting down that Roughnecks offense. The Renegades +7.5. They cover. They win outright, and the under 41 hits in this one. A shocker, 4-6 team winning, and now they are in the XFL championship game in 2 weeks. How about the North Division Championship? How about those defenders on Sunday? DC winning 37-21 over the Seattle Sea Dragons. I got my lovely North Division Championship background here, and got my shirt on, of course, like normal. It was weird. Ben DiNucci really played well. 31 of 48, 64.6%, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 carries for 16 yards for the Seattle offense. But that's the issue. He was their only offense. They passed it almost every single play in this game. And early on, when it was raining in the first quarter, a bunch of drops by Juwan Green, Josh Gordon, and others that really killed some of their drives early. Jordan Ta'amu was spectacular, though. Once again, 19 of 31, 61.3%, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns. The 2 interceptions I hated. Both were into double coverage, deflections that were caught. One was a fantastic pick by Sea Dragons safety Antoine Brooks, but also Ta'amu throwing a 2-point conversion to tight end Alex Ellis. De'Ara King played sparingly like he usually does, not getting any yards on the ground, but 4 of 5 passing, 80% for 41 yards. Abram Smith, of course, led the game in rushing, 23 carries, 48 yards, a touchdown, 2 catches, 7 yards, and a 1-point conversion for the DC back in the league's leading rusher, probably the MVP, I would say. Who knows, though? We'll see. DC getting the Coach of the Year honors. The XFL Coach of the Year going to head coach Reggie Barlow there. How about the nice day for defenders backup running back Cameron Harris? 5 carries, 25 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 1-point conversion instead of Abram Smith when he got dinged up a little bit, but the former Miami Hurricane doing a nice job in relief there. And then the leading rusher outside of Ben DiNucci, the only other person to run the ball for Seattle was Phillip Lindsay, and he only carried it twice, -3 yards. So again, absolutely zero rushing attack for Seattle. So, I mean, that was maybe why they lost, other than the drops. But Sea Dragons wide receiver Jawan Green had a nice day, 8 catches, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns on 16 targets. You had Ja'Cour Pearson scoring a touchdown for Seattle as well. Lucky Jackson and Ethan Wolf, wide receiver and tight end, both scoring for DC. Defensively, I'm going to go with defenders, defensive tackle Joe Wallace. 2 tackles, both of them solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. DC defenders covering -2, easily over 49 hits. I cashed on that one. USFL Week 3 on Saturday. Breakers 3-0, the only undefeated team left this year in the USFL, 45-31 over the Stallions. What a game it was for MBT. McLeod Bethel Thompson shredding this league so far. 20 of 28, 71.4%, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick. Alex Magoo got banged up a little bit, but did return and played the rest of the game out. 17 of 26, 65.4%, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. I told my roommate and I went in and bet it myself, but I told him, I was like, girl, put 20 on the Breakers for me, and he went in 10 as well, money line live, because they were up 14-10, and they also but they were underdogs, live money line, which I didn't really understand. That was right when Alex Magoo got hurt, so I was like, bro, their quarterback got hurt. Let's cash this here. So, and we did cash, as you can see, the Breakers winning the game. West Hills continues to just be a monster. 34 carries, 191 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 receptions for 16 yards. Man's got 6 touchdowns last 2 weeks combined. And he is just eating up USFL defenses. So I'm happy to see that. Like I said, my fellow PSAC brother in there, member of Slippery Rock. Good job, West Hills. CJ Marable also scoring a touchdown for the Stallions there. You had Stallions wide receiver Davion Davis leading the game in receiving, 5 catches, 123 yards, a touchdown on 5 targets. Breakers wide receiver Jonathan Adams and D. Anderson, Lee Morris scoring the 3 touchdown passes from MBT there. And you also had Stallions tight end Jay Sternberger scoring a touchdown. And then Stallions wide receiver Deion Kane opening the game lights out, 82-yard kick return touchdown. Didn't catch his only target on offense, though. Defensively, I'm going to go with the bottom guy there, Breakers linebacker Gerard Fernandez. 5 tackles, 3 solos, 1 pick, and a pass deflection. Breakers plus 6.5 covered and went outright over 48.5. This is ridiculous this week in the USFL. All 4 underdogs covering, and 3 of the 4 underdogs winning outright. Of course, this was the only underdog that didn't win outright, and it's my team. The Houston Gamblers getting their first win of the season, 30-26 over the only winless team now in the league, 0-3 Memphis Showboats. But they did enough on offense to do it. Cole Kelly got the start in place of Brady White. And, the start wasn't very good, but they lit it up in the second half. Long passes, explosive plays, and they did enough to win the game. The defense let them down at the end, allowed Kenji Bahar to drive down the field and score the game-winning touchdown with about 17 seconds left. And, of course, the extra point was good, which made it a 4-point game, which made it very difficult for Cole Kelly to come back with no timeouts at the end. 21 of 38, though, for Kelly, 55.3%, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 4 carries for 17 yards. Kenji Bahar, again, pretty solid, 22 of 36, 61.1%, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Mark Thompson returning for his first action of the season. Happy to hear that. He's on my USFL fantasy team, so definitely need Mark Thompson to come back as I sit in the 1-2 hole that I am in this USFL league. It's not that bad. There's a couple 2-1 teams and then 1 3-0 team. Our guy Colin Schultz just crushing everyone. He's scored like 300 plus points in the first 3 weeks. He has McLeod Bethel Thompson though, so that's what you get for that. What up, Logan?
Nothing much, dude. How you doing?
I'm chilling, man. I got like I told everyone else, I got the North Division Championship logo behind me.
Very nice.
Headed to the XFL Championship in 2 weeks.
Representing.
But yeah, back to this game here. Mark Thompson, 21 carries, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches for 32 yards on 5 targets. Wasn't a lot on the ground for Memphis at all. Cole Kelly, their leading rusher, but outside of the quarterback, Kareth White led the game in rushing for Memphis. 3 carries, 6 yards. He also had 2 catches for 36 yards and a touchdown. Alex Collins, while a horrid day on the ground, he did throw a touchdown, a 1-yard touchdown pass. As he yelled after he completed that, I feel like Lamar. Which was the quote of the day in this game anyways. Unfortunately, it did not mean that the Showboats got the win. Gamblers wide receiver Justin Hall continues to light it up. Last week, I believe he had 3 touchdowns. This week, 6 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns on 8 targets. Love Justin Hall out of Ball State. You remember him at Ball State, Logan?
I do not.
Well, man, he was a beast there, and he's showing it with Houston this year in the couple games. Showboats tight end JJ Wilson and Ryan McDaniel catching touchdowns from Kelly. The McDaniel catch was just ridiculous. You gotta watch that one. Find that on Twitter. He bobbled it like a couple times, then he finally got it with 2 feet inbounds. So it was pretty nice. And then defensively, I don't know who to pick. A lot of good games there. I'm probably gonna go with the bottom guy there though, because of the interception. Gamblers linebacker JT Taylor, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 1 pick, and 2 pass deflections. The Showboats covered +6 over 42.5 hits. And I cashed on that one. Like I said, it is crazy. All 4 underdogs covered this week in the USFL. 3 out of the 4 won outright. I said, of course, my Memphis Showboats were the only one that didn't win outright. But they had the lead. They had the lead 26-23 with like a minute something to go, and defense let us down. But on Sunday, the Pittsburgh Maulers picking up their first win of the year, 21-13 over the Philly Stars. Case Cookus, 23 of 36, 63.9%, 238 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks, and a fumble. Turnovers. The Maulers defense, this is literally like exactly how they played last year. Their defense was very good. If they can win in close games, they're going to win a lot. It's just they need more help on the offensive side of the ball. They really don't have a lot of playmakers at the skill positions. So that's an issue. The quarterback play hasn't been stellar either. They were lucky that they got a new field goal kicker this week. Nate Hirely, I don't remember how you say his last name. He's gone anyways, so it doesn't really matter how you say his last name. Hirely or something like that. But yeah, Troy Williams got the start in this one. They were expecting James Morgan to play as well, but Williams did play decent. 10 of 18, 55.6%, 96 yards, a touchdown, 7 carries, 65 yards on the ground. And your guy, Garrett Groshek, led the game in rushing outside of Williams there. 15 carries, 40 yards, 1 catch for 13 yards. Stars wide receiver Corey Coleman led the game in receiving, 8 catches, 86 yards, a touchdown on 12 targets. And I believe this is also your guy, tight end Mason Stockey.
Yes, sir.
2 catches, 35 yards, and on 3 targets. I was getting annoyed because, like, in the first half, they were calling him Stoke. And I'm like, bro, it's Stockey. And then in the second half, they started calling him Stockey. So
Someone got on it.
They called him Stoke last week in their game too. My guy, I like Bailey Gaither with Pittsburgh. He caught a touchdown in this one. And before I go to the defense, like I mentioned, the man, the MVP of this game was Chris Blewett, former Pitt Panther there. 5 of 5 field goals, all in the first half, tied. I believe he tied the USFL record in the first half. Or no, he had 4 for 4, I think, in the first half. I don't remember. But regardless, I think he tied the USFL record for the first half field goals, whether that be 4 or 5. But he made all those, 50 long in this one. Of course, he can make all the field goals, and then he misses the extra point that he attempts. So yeah. I don't.
Blewett is a really tough kicker last name too. Like that's just, you got to be on, otherwise you're just rife for being memed.
Yeah, for sure. Great defensive performances. I'm going to go with 2 guys actually. The top 2 there. Reuben Foster has been spectacular so far for Pittsburgh in the 3 weeks. 11 tackles, 5 of them solos, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pick, 2 pass deflections. And then the best pass rusher Philly has, defensive end Adam Rodriguez, 8 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, and a forced fumble. Maulers plus 6.5. They went outright under 42.5. In the final game of week 3, the New Jersey Generals getting it done 28-13 over the Michigan Panthers. Did not see this one coming. The Generals playing very well. The Panthers not. DeAndre Johnson, 10 of 15, 66.7%, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the biggest thing for them was his legs in this one. 10 carries, 98 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. Josh Love struggled a lot in the first half, 15 of 31, 48.4%, 101 yards a pick, 3 carries for 13 yards. The offense really picked up in the second half with Carson Strong, though, 4 of 9, 44.4%, 62 yards, and a touchdown. The Generals' defense was just lights out pretty much all day. The leading rusher in this one, outside of Johnson, Darius Victor, 9 carries, 68 yards, a touchdown, and 1 51-yard receiving touchdown as well for the Generals back. The Generals and the game's leading receiver also was wide receiver Alonzo Moore. 1 catch, 72 yards, touchdown on 2 targets. That's pretty efficient there. And then Trey Quinn for the Panthers caught the only touchdown for them on the day. Defensively, I'm going to go with Generals. Defensive end Tyshawn Render, 5 tackles, 3 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections. Generals plus 4.5. They went outright under 43.5. I did cash on that ticket. College football news. We have the 2024-2025 college football playoff dates announced. And I'm sad. I'm very sad because I'm not going to be able to stay in Athens for the national championship now with this delayed national championship. So next year on Friday, December 20th, there will be 1 game. It'll be a night game. And of course, the first round of the college football playoff expanded now. First round, there's 4 games, all on campus, on the campuses of the host teams. So, and I believe, what is it? It's the top 2 the top 4 get buys. Yeah, top 4 get buys. And then the bottom 8 that you'll have your 5-8 or no. Your 5-12, your 6-11, 7-10 and 9-8 matchup all in the first round there. So if one Friday night game, and then there'll be a triple header on Saturday, early afternoon, late afternoon, and evening on December 21st. The quarterfinals will be New Year's Eve. That will be the first game will be at the Fiesta Bowl. That'll be a night game on New Year's Eve. And then New Year's Day, we will have a triple header. That'll be the Peach Bowl will be the early afternoon game. Rose Bowl will be late afternoon. And then the Sugar Bowl will be in the evening. The semifinals are going to be January 9th, 2025 at the Orange Bowl. That's a Thursday night game. And then we'll have a Friday night game, January 10th at the Cotton Bowl. And then the national championship will be January 20th, 2025 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Georgia. So it's going to be a long time to figure out the national champion starting with the 2024 season.
Yeah. It's essentially a month of college football playoff.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
Excited.
And the craziest thing, the semifinal games that weekend is going to be ridiculous. The first weekend in January, because we get a semifinal on Thursday, a semifinal on Friday. We get two wild card playoff NFL games on Saturday, 3 wild card games on Sunday, and then a wild card game on Monday. So from Thursday to Monday, first weekend, January 2025, you're gonna have a whole weekend of college and NFL playoffs. And I'm not gonna say the 2025 because it's the same pretty much, just different dates. And I don't even know where I'm gonna be, so it's fine. That's a little farther down the road. The transfer portal, some interesting names. So the spring portal closed on Sunday. And we had some big names actually enter the portal along with a bunch of other people. But one surprising, this first one, UTSA wide receiver Zachary Franklin. I was shocked at that one. I thought he was going to stay because I'm blanking on the quarterback. I can't think of what. I can't remember right now. But the quarterback there, I thought that they would keep it together, everything together with UTSA, run it back, win a third straight Conference USA championship, and try to push for the maybe a New Year's Six bowl possibly. But yeah, he is probably going elsewhere. I haven't heard anything about where yet, but he is in the portal. And an update on Nebraska quarterback Casey Thompson. He visited with Auburn, so Hugh Freeze possibly getting a new quarterback there. We'll see if he sticks with Auburn or not. NC State quarterback Ben Finley, he has committed to Cal. Michigan State lost two big pieces on Sunday, the last day. Mel Tucker losing quarterback Peyton Thorne and wide receiver Keon Coleman. So I have no clue who's going to start now for Michigan State at quarterback. But those are two. I mean, Coleman was their leading receiver last year too. So yeah, that's tough for Michigan State. Old Dominion quarterback Hayden Wolf has found a home. It is Western Michigan. So he's going to get a chance, I would believe, anyways, to start for the Broncos there. And then Casey Thompson might have a spot at Auburn because quarterback TJ Finley in the portal from the Tigers. So that might be an in-out situation there. NFL news. We heard today former Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs III. He has waived his right to a preliminary hearing on Tuesday, and he will plead guilty to one count of DUI resulting in death, one count of misdemeanor vehicular manslaughter, faces 3 to 10 years in prison. It's a lot lighter than what I thought it would be. And I think what many other people wanted because of the circumstances of how the woman and her dog died in the fire. So yeah, it's a good deal for him. It's good on his attorney's part, but
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
The NFL, they have determined that the 2023 schedule going to be released May 11th, so next Thursday, which is perfect. My last finals on May 10th. You know, I can rest easy and just chill out and watch the schedule release and see where we're at on Thursday there.
Yeah, it's always. I always enjoy that it's kind of like a quick turnaround to that after the draft. Like once the draft is over, you're kind of like, oh man, it's a long time till football, but then you get the schedule release and then, you have rookie mini camps and then pretty soon it's training camp. And so, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see some of the matchups, but I never pay attention to who my team's playing until the schedule comes out. Like some people pay attention to, oh yeah, we're playing this team.
Yeah.
Away or home. I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, just depends when. But fifth year option tracker. So that deadline was today.
I think so.
I can't remember if it was yesterday or today. I think it was today though. So options getting picked up. This is for the class of 2018, right? No, 2019. 19, 20, 21, 22. Going in.
2020, I
No,
think.
2020. Yeah, 2020. Yeah. Because they're going into their fourth year. That's right. So the Chargers, quarterback Justin Herbert, of course. 49ers, wide receiver Brandon Ayuk. Falcons, corner AJ Terrell. Browns, offensive tackle Jedrick Wills. I feel like he gets lost in that class because he's in Cleveland. I don't
Yeah.
know. Panthers defensive tackle Derek Brown. Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, which I thought that one was intriguing, given all the trade hype surrounding him.
Yeah.
But they are keeping him. And Giants left tackle Andrew Thomas not getting their options picked up and being able to reach free agency next year. There's a lot of guys. And it's interesting because the 49ers, Chargers, and Panthers all have multiple guys. So they picked up one and didn't pick up the other. Was something to see. 49ers defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw. Chargers linebacker Kenneth Murray. Panthers corner CJ Henderson. Obviously, he got traded to the Panthers. Jags edge rusher Kaylavon Chason. Saints offensive lineman Cesar Ruiz. Ravens linebacker Patrick Queen, which I thought was one that was an outlier there. Cardinals linebacker Isaiah Simmons, and of course, Jets offensive tackle Mekhi Becton. You have an issue with any of those?
No, I mean, this seems pretty chalky across the board. You know, these are the guys that I'd expect to have their fifth years picked up. And the rest kind of expected not to. So,
yeah, like I said, the Patrick Queen one was the only one I thought that he might get his picked up. I mean, they obviously did add Roquan Smith last year mid-season, but yeah, I mean, I thought Patrick Queen was doing a pretty good job anyways. I don't know. We'll see if they sign him into a deal before free agency next offseason or not. So undrafted free agency. I just put a bunch of guys that were notable players for me anyways. I didn't look at the updated list, so I'll probably put those guys on the Friday show. Once I look at the updated list and actually have time. But the Dolphins, they signed a Jackson State linebacker Aubrey Miller. Bucks getting Kansas State wide receiver Cade Warner, the son of NFL Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner, going to Tampa Bay. Seahawks, UCLA wide receiver Jake Bobo, Louisiana running back Chris Smith, Arkansas wide receiver Matt Landers, and North Dakota State tight end Noah Gindorf. Not Gandalf, Gindorf. The Bears, they got Shepherd quarterback Tyson Bagent, our Mark's guy there, and Syracuse kicker Andre Schmidt. Patriots, interesting, signing Louisville quarterback Malik Cunningham. So Cunningham's got some options because obviously he signed with the Patriots, but he also was drafted in the USFL draft a couple months ago. So if he doesn't make it with an NFL team this year, he always can go to the USFL next season. So we'll see. Or maybe they add him. I don't remember which team he was drafted to, but the Lions signing Kansas State quarterback Adrian Martinez, Minnesota running back Mohamed Ibrahim, and Notre Dame safety Brandon Joseph. He was one I thought was going to get drafted, but did not. Steelers getting Minnesota quarterback Tanner Morgan. Fits their quarterback profile pretty much. The Texans signing Arizona State running back Xavier Valade. Love him. And LSU edge rusher Ali Gay. Saints, Texas Tech running back Sir Roderick Thompson. Ravens, East Carolina running back Keaton Mitchell. Commanders, Penn State wide receiver Mitchell Tinsley. Eagles getting Clemson wide receiver Joseph Ngata. Jets signing Southern Miss wide receiver Jason Brownlee and Western Kentucky corner Khalif Hayalasi. Titans getting Georgia wide receiver Kieris Jackson. Colts, Alabama offensive lineman Emil Ekiyor Jr. Bengals, Washington offensive lineman Jackson Kirkland. Browns getting Utah edge rusher Mohamed Diabate. Cowboys, Mississippi State edge rusher Tyrus Wheat. Falcons, Rice edge rusher Ikena Enechukwu. Panthers getting Oklahoma defensive tackle Jalen Redmond. Cardinals, Michigan State defensive tackle Jacob Slade. Vikings, Cincinnati linebacker Ivan Pace Jr. and Georgia kicker Jack Podlesny. And Jags getting UCF safety Devad Wilson. So, yeah, a lot of notable college players there getting opportunities. I think Ivan Pace Jr. was probably the biggest one there out of all those guys that definitely I thought he was going to go like day 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it was shocking to see his slide. There were a few guys on this list that I think had a pretty good chance to get drafted. I think Emil Ekiyor from Bama. I was really surprised that Mo Ibrahim didn't get at least like a 7th round look. Maybe it's a medical thing, but
yeah, his I know he's had those knees. He's had ACL, he had ACL in 2021. And then I mean, he's had a couple knee injuries in his career, so that was probably his biggest issue. But yeah. And then we have mini camp invites / workouts. Most of them are mini camp invites, but some of them are workouts there. The Commanders giving a look at Air Force running back Brad Roberts. Speaking of military, I haven't heard anything about Andre Carter yet. I was shocked that he didn't get drafted. Him and Brad Roberts both got grandfathered in, getting their service deferred till after they're done playing. So yeah, Andre Carter is one I'm interested to see when I look at the updated list on Friday.
The Vikings signed him too.
Dang it.
They gave him to it, yeah.
Wanted the Steelers to get him. But yeah. So yeah, Air Force running back Brad Roberts there for the Commanders. Jets. Couple quarterbacks looking for some backups and some camp arms. Incarnate Word quarterback Lindsey Scott Jr. And how about XFL guys? Brahmas quarterback Jack Cohn getting a look. He's actually going to be at the Jets rookie minicamp this weekend, and then the Seahawks minicamp next weekend if the Jets don't sign him, I guess. The Bucks, they are giving a look at Roughnecks defensive tackle CJ Brewer. Dolphins looking at Roughnecks offensive lineman Jack Snyder and Battlehawks defensive end Freedom Akeem Moladoon. Broncos working out Brahma's running back Jaquez Patrick. Falcons getting Sea Dragons offensive lineman Barry Wesley, and the Lions trying out Brahma's kicker John Parker Romo there. Re-signings. How about your quarterback? The Packers re-signing or signing quarterback Jordan Love to a 1-year, $22.5 million extension, $13.5 million fully guaranteed. He is now signed through 2024. So you have 2 seasons to prove yourself.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that this is a really great deal for both sides. I know that there have been some takes today, like, this says a lot about how they feel about him or how he feels about himself. Look, this is great for both sides. Okay. Jordan Love gets 13.5 mil up front, fully guaranteed. But it's less fully guaranteed money than the fifth-year option is. But the base salary is a couple million more than what the fifth-year option was. So essentially, if he balls out, he's going to get the mega extension plus the couple mil that's on the base salary for this re-signing. If he doesn't, the Packers can part ways because there's less money, guaranteed money tied up into him on this extension. So I think it's just good for both sides. Someone pointed out, they did a similar thing with Rodgers when it was his time. It's just crazy how many parallels there are with this whole situation and the timeline and everything. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a good deal for both parties.
Well, it was less than what the fifth-year option was. I believe the fifth-year option was around 23 million. So they signed him for $9.5 million less guaranteed, since the fifth-year option is fully guaranteed, which makes sense. I mean, the issue that I see is, what if the Packers absolutely bomb and they're like top 5 and they're in striking distance for Caleb Williams, Drake May next year,
Yeah, I think that I don't think that'll change how they attack the draft if they really do finish in that range, because if they do, then it probably means that the Jordan Love experience didn't go so great. And like I said, that's why this extension is good, because if you have to eat 13 million, it's a lot more easy to swallow than 20 million plus. So
yeah, I can see that. And my guy, of course, my internet connection is unstable. The great Marquette Wi-Fi, love it. Even though I'm at the Mark, which their Wi-Fi is definitely a lot better than at the law school. But anyways, of course, and my guy, if the Packers do struggle, they have a very veteran quarterback behind Jordan Love now. My guy Sean Clifford can just save the day if needed. But the Chiefs also, they re-signed running back Jerick McKinnon, one of only like 6 players or something like that to score 8 receiving touchdowns in like a 3-game span or something like that. I don't remember what the stat was on Twitter. I saw it today, but he was there with like Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and all kinds of other really good receivers. But yeah, great receiving back for the Chiefs there. The Bills getting some help with the depth. They signed Broncos running back Latavius Murray to a 1-year deal, and also Seahawks defensive tackle Poona Ford to a 1-year deal. I think the Ford deal a lot more important than the Murray deal is, but definitely Poona Ford's going to help inside with the run defense there and gives you some pass rush upside if needed. The Steelers continued to help out their secondary after drafting Joey Porter Jr. on day 2. They signed Vikings defensive back Chandon Sullivan. I know give me the rundown on Chandon Sullivan, former Packer.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good depth piece in your secondary. He has some versatility, he can move around a little bit. I think he played some special teams for us too. So I think it's a good signing. I think, especially since the Steelers kind of need some depth in that secondary. I think he's a good kind of second wave of free agency signing.
We need all the corners we can get. Because Patrick Peterson's 33 years old. The Jets getting some help at offensive tackle because they didn't get one in the draft. They signed Broncos offensive tackle Billy Turner, which I think is a great signing. Good swing tackle there, and they declined Becton's 5th-year option, so they need to find something for this season and possibly beyond. So
yeah, they just need some injury insurance for sure, and I think it's a good signing.
Okay, let's get to the NFL draft recap here. Last 15 minutes that you're on. I think this should cover at least the 15 minutes. But let's talk about, before we get to our favorite players from each round, let's go to the two player trades that occurred during the draft, both on day 3. First one here, love it. Eagles acquiring running back DeAndre Swift and a 2023 7th-round pick, number 249 overall. That ended up being Texas defensive tackle Moro Ojomo. And the Lions, they acquired a 2023 7th-round pick back. They moved up 30 spots in the 7th round to number 219. They selected North Carolina wide receiver Antoine Green with that pick, and they also got a 2024 4th-round pick as well. The only issue I had with how he did on the 3 days was he traded a lot of future capital, 4th, 5th, and 6th round picks in next year's draft going away to trade up a couple times. And also he did get one back eventually, but I love this. The Eagles needed a back, and they went with the veteran route instead of getting a rookie. So I'm very excited about DeAndre Swift. And of course, he has Georgia players there to help him out.
Yeah, I never really understood the Lions kind of just seemingly falling out of favor with Swift. I think when he's healthy, he's a pretty electric playmaker, and I really like this move. The only issue is when you're looking at that running back room, it's punctuated with a lot of guys who have injury history. So we'll see if that plays a role. But I think it's a good room. And again, if they can stay healthy, if both those guys, Penny and Swift, can kind of bounce off each other, and they can manage each other's workload, I think it's going to be a good thing for that team.
Yeah, I think they're just banking on that they were probably, I don't know, maybe if it's not the healthiest, but one of the healthiest teams last year. They really did not have many injuries that hurt them. So we'll see if change of scenery helps DeAndre Swift out or not. And then Sean Payton getting a former pupil here, tight end Adam Troutman, going to the Broncos with a 2023 7th-round pick, number 257. The Broncos drafted Oregon center Alex Forsyth with that pick. And the Saints getting back a 2023 6th-round pick, number 195. That was used to select Wake Forest wide receiver A.T. Perry for Derek Carr there. So I think it's pretty even. Of course, Troutman was never going to go for much, being sort of a bust as a former second round pick, right? Out of date,
He was a third.
Yeah. Regardless, day 2 pick there. Saints just trying to get anything they could out of him, and they moved up quite a bit in the draft to get another playmaker. So I think that worked out for them.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely, obviously, Sean Payton saying, like, this is one of my guys. Like, I feel like I can do something with it. I just don't think it was as necessary as maybe he thought. I mean, they have Albert O. They just spent a day 2 pick on Greg Dulcich. So I don't know. We'll see kind of how that plays for them.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the draft recap here. First round, favorite pick. I'm just gonna go with the number 1 overall pick. Call it what you will, but I was very excited for Bryce Young to go to the Panthers. I mean, again, I thought by far, I didn't think it was close. There was a lot of people like CJ Stroud better. I didn't think it was close. The amount of accuracy, touch, he doesn't have the biggest arm, but he can make all the throws. He doesn't turn the ball over very often. And again, like we've been saying, all draft process, if he's 2 inches taller, he's a generational quarterback.
Yep.
So I loved Bryce Young at number 1.
Yeah, definitely was just, let's not get cute. I think he's the best player in this draft. At least when you factor in value, I think he was the best quarterback. So yeah, I like that for them. I think mine is probably your Eagles' second pick here, Nolan Smith. I was super high on Smith, and I think he should have gone much higher than this. The Eagles for sure kind of just let the draft come to them, which is, just really good process. And yeah, I think it's just a perfect landing spot. That front seven is just going to be crazy again. I think that Smith plays bigger than, kind of what he's listed at. And I think getting to learn from somebody like Hassan Reddick, who is kind of his size comp and what you're hoping he can turn into, is just a really big deal. So yeah, I'd say that's probably one of my favorite value / team fits. I also think Quentin Johnston with Justin Herbert is potentially going to be really fun too.
Yeah, I had to laugh when I heard this quote from Tom Telesco, though, when someone asked him, Eagles drafted all Georgia players. Well, the Chargers drafted 3 TCU players, 2 wide receivers, and they drafted their quarterback, Max Duggan, as well. He said, when you look at TCU, they're right up there with Georgia and Alabama. I was like, bro, that they're not. Did you watch the same national championship that I did? Because it wasn't close, man. And I'm sure if it would have been Alabama against TCU, it would have went the same way. That I chuckled a lot at that one, because I was like, dude, it's not even close. So you do you, Tom, but sorry. How about your least favorite selection of round 1, and don't take mine?
There's
your Packers. That's what you want to say.
I think there's 2 for me. I think I won't speak on the Jahmyr Gibbs pick because I think it's kind of been done to death. It's kind of the one that sticks out. But I like Jahmyr Gibbs as a player. So and I think, Brad Holmes said in his press conference that they're going to get creative with how they can use him. And he has experience lining up in the slot. So I'll forgive that one. I didn't understand the Emmanuel Forbes pick. He is a super size outlier, and Christian Gonzalez was still on the board, who I'm really high on. So I didn't really get that pick. That I'd say probably was my least favorite.
Yeah, I feel that one. The Patriots got probably, other than, like you said, Nolan Smith, the steal of round 1, just sitting there after they traded back 3 spots. Yeah, my least favorite was the Bijan Robinson pick with Atlanta. I don't mind him going in the top 10 based off of the talent, but not to the the Falcons had so much other things that they needed to get done. And to think that you're going to take a running back and that he's going to account for as many wins as something else at an area of need, such as a corner would have, or a pass rusher would have, it didn't make sense with the team for me. So that was the one I just shook my head at, because I was like, dude, you're not in a position where you can take a guy at that position.
I'll say this. I totally agree with that. I think they definitely had much bigger needs, and I think they could have addressed them. They need pass rush. They've needed pass rush for the last 5 years. But I do like the Bijan pick in that it at least gives us an idea of what they're trying to do. And the Falcons are very obviously trying to replicate what Arthur Smith was able to do at Tennessee, which could be really fun to watch. That old line is pretty good. And we'll see if Bijan can be that kind of back that they can lean on to win them games, kind of like a Derrick Henry.
Well, it also didn't make sense because they already had a guy that ran for 1,000 yards last year. Like, Tyler Algier was very good as a rookie, and that was also another factor for me, for that. But yeah, other than that, I just want to say two more things about the first round. Jordan Addison to the Vikings, Brian Bresee to the Saints. I told y'all both those won't happen, and they happened. So just saying on that one. And Peter even texted me during the first round. He's when Addison went to the Vikings. He's like, bro, you said. I was like, I know. Like Jordan Addison's perfect fit for Minnesota. So
we guessed Mozzie Smith to Dallas too.
Yeah, right. Okay, so second round. I think I might my favorite pick might be again at the top of the round, because it was just again for my teams. Joey Porter Jr. was just an absolute perfect fit for Pittsburgh. It's long, lengthy corner that can play press man coverage is exactly what Mike Tomlin's defense wants. And big area of need. Teams were calling, they wanted to get up, but Pittsburgh was like, no, like we need Joey Porter. So, and of course the family ties as well was just a perfect thing. And I can't believe he even fell that far. They got Broderick Jones in the first and Joey Porter in the second was ridiculous haul for them.
Yeah. I think that was a very good pick. And Pittsburgh's another team that kind of just let the draft come to them, but was, not in a way that where they were just passive, where they were able to, like in the first round, they were able to go and get Broderick Jones. What I mean when they let the draft come to them is it feels like they were very aware of where their board was and the strengths and how they needed to fill out their picks. So I loved the JPJ pick, the legacy pick. For my favorite pick of the second round, and it might be a shock, considering, how I felt about the prospect throughout the draft process, but I think the Will Levis pick is outstanding for Tennessee. And it's because my whole issue with the Will Levis discussion through this draft process is because I never felt comfortable taking like a top 10 pick on him. Mm-hmm. In this range, I feel super comfortable taking a high second, late first on someone with his traits, who doesn't have to start right away, you can kind of develop under Tannehill, who has experience under center doing some play action stuff. I think it's a really good team fit. And from an entertainment value perspective too, like having Stroud, Richardson, and then the guy who fell out of the first round, who's going to have a big chip on his shoulder, Will Levis, in the same division could really be fun to watch. So yeah, I think it was a good pick.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that once the inevitable happens next year and Ryan Tannehill's gone, Trevor Lawrence is the elder statesman of the division at that point. Yep. So, but yeah, anyways, tight ends also very prevalent in the second round. Laporta to the Lions, Mayer to the Raiders, your Packers taking Luke Musgrave. And then you also had my guy, Brenton Strange. Luke Schoonmaker to the Cowboys, Brenton Strange to the Jags as well. So a lot of tight ends in the second round. Mm-hmm. Third round here. Who did you like in the third?
I really loved the Jalen Hyatt pick for the Giants. I was surprised he kind of fell the way he did. But in looking at this Giants draft, I really love it because I think they hit their three biggest needs. And honestly, all three of those guys, I wouldn't have been super upset if they took in round one. They ended up with Deontay Banks, which I think is a great pick. Then with their second pick, they got John Michael Schmitz, just kind of going to be a plug and play center for them. And now they have a wide receiver who's taller than 5'11". He's still slight, but he's at least taller than what they have, and he has a lot of upside in terms of being able to take a top off of defense. So I really like that pick.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep being a homer and go back to the Steelers. I mean, I just talked about the tight ends. To get Darnell Washington at 93rd overall was crazy. And this makes it 2 years in a row for my three teams selecting a Georgia Bulldog in the 90s because of a injury concern.
Yeah.
Darnell, apparently the medicals on his knee. Some teams had him off their board and whatnot. But he's a sixth offensive lineman. He's 6'7", and he's comfortable in being a tight end 2 role. Which he will be behind Pat Freiermuth in Pittsburgh. So it's perfect scenario for the Steelers to get him. I was shocked when they took him. I was like, why do we need a tight end? But I mean, I'm fine with it. More Pickett playmakers there. So
yeah.
Love that.
Another round 3 pick that I love, just real quick, Devon Achane to Miami. Just the all speed team in Miami. That was my team fit for Achane this entire process. And I was like, no way that it happens. And it happened. It's going to be really interesting to see how they can scheme up with those 3 guys who are, they're at least all 3 of them are going to be in the top 10 fastest dudes in the NFL on the same offense.
I want to shout out my guy, Jake Moody, the kicker, going in round 3 was pretty awesome to see. Kickers are people too. So Jake Moody filling Robbie Gould's spot as he will not return in San Francisco this year. Round 4. Let's see. What do we have here? Well, we had another kicker go. The New England Patriots took Maryland's Chad Ryland. I'm probably, I don't know. Is it bad if I go back to the Steelers again?
The Steelers had. I think you do it. If you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Because Nick Herbig, I mean, that's fantastic. He can play off-ball linebacker, but I think he's more going to play on the outside linebacker edge role for the Steelers in their rotation. That's a guy I loved for Pittsburgh this whole draft process. And they love their Wisconsin edge rushers. So Nick Herbig was a guy I really loved in round 4.
Yes, we love the Pittsburgh Wisconsin Badger connection, and it's worked out very, very well in the past for them. I think what I'm going to go with here is, unfortunately, the Chicago Bears with Roschon Johnson. I think that was a really good spot for him. I think he's going to get a opportunity to contribute right away, and I think he's somebody who people might feel different about if he was the number 1 on another team and not in Bijan's shadow. I think he's a really good back, and I think they're going to have the opportunity to see it.
Yeah, definitely. They signed Deontay Foreman. We'll see if one of them takes the role or if it's a committee approach there. One more thing with round 4. I thought the Eagles, when they traded up to number 105, which they traded a 3rd round pick next year to do, by the way. They traded up for Keely Ringo, which I absolutely love. Another Georgia Bulldog, of course, fine. But I thought they were trading up for DeJuan Jones because they had been rumored all draft process of getting the future at right tackle behind Lane Johnson. But the Browns got DeJuan Jones, and I love that, man. To get him in round 4, I had him going high day 2, round 2. So the big man in Cleveland now, which is weird since they just got Jedrick Will's option picked up. I don't know if this means anything for Jack Conklin's future in Cleveland or not, but we'll see. Fifth round. What are you looking at in the fifth here?
Unfortunately, I'm going with another rival of the Packers. I think Jacqueline Roy was a really good pick here. I think that
Jaquaylin
Roy.
I didn't know it was Jaquaylin either until I said it on.
Yep. So, yeah, I think that's a really good team fit, and it's obviously a need. I think it's good value for where he's at. I think it's just one of those guys late round guy who I think is just going to be able to carve out like a quality starting role. And if you can find that in the fifth, that's a good deal. So,
yeah, I'm also going to go with a rival, the Commanders at the top there. I loved KJ Henry, edge out of Clemson. And they didn't pick up Chase Young's option, and they needed more help at that position, youth. And KJ Henry was a guy I was targeting for all three of my teams, really more along the lines of the Panthers. I really liked him to the Panthers, but I think that's a solid day 3 selection for Washington there that can help their pass rush. Also, just wanted to mention there was one other. Oh, Chase Brown, Bengals. Absolutely love it. He might be their starting running back this year if the rumors are true and they do cut ties with Joe Mixon in the next couple of weeks. 6th round. I am probably going to go with, I didn't scroll through the whole round yet, but the LA Rams. Number 182, Travius Hodges-Tomlinson. How did he fall to the 6th round? This kid is ultra athletic, great slot corner, and maybe that's why, because he only plays a slot. But great ball production, and is going to help the Rams immensely at a position of need.
Yeah, I'm finally going to go with a homer pick here. I'm going to go with the Packers taking Carl Brooks, the D tackle out of Bowling Green. Some action for us. I think there's a lot of upside in Carl Brooks. The Packers absolutely needed DT depth. They only had 3 on the roster before this, and they got that with their 4th and 5th round or 4th and 6th round selections. And I think Carl Brooks is somebody who I think it'll be an adjustment from the Maction competition level, which he just tore up basically every O-line he faced is like a one-man wrecking crew. But I think once he adjusts, I think he's going to be a quality, at the very least, a quality rotational player who can push for some starting reps. Which again, if you can get that in these later rounds, it's huge.
There's 3 other guys I want to highlight. And I thought with the Packers, you were going to go with their other pick, Anders Carlson, kicker out of Auburn.
I don't want to talk about that.
Crosby's gone. Also, I want to mention the all-name team, the Ravens drafting Oregon offensive tackle Male Sala Amevalalu there.
Nice.
And then I'll go back to the action though. Eastern Michigan edge rusher Jose Ramirez to the Bucks. Loved Jose Ramirez, motor guy that can get after it. So the Bucks, Todd Bowles getting a nice rotational edge rusher there in the 6th. And then the final round, who did you like in round 7?
Yeah, I'm going to go homer pick here again. Anthony Johnson Jr., the safety out of Iowa State. This is somebody that I know that some draftniks were super high on, as in like had top 100 grades. I don't think that was consensus, but he's somebody who I think some people identified and were like, hey, look, man, like this guy could start. And I think he's going to get a really good chance to do that in Green Bay because our safety depth is suspect at best. So, yeah, he's a guy that I'm really excited about. I'm really going to be paying attention in rookie minicamp and training camp to see how he's progressing, because I think he could find himself in a very early big role for us.
Yeah, I'll stay in the secondary. Nick Jones, corner out of Ball State, going to the Chiefs. He had a fantastic Senior Bowl, and I was very excited once I saw him at the Senior Bowl because I was like, dude, this guy day 3, possibly push for day 2. Probably wasn't realistic to go day 2, but day 3, I was thinking more 4th or 5th round, but ends up in the 7th. Chiefs got another gem in the day 3 picks for Brett Veach there. And also Jervarius Owens, safety out of Houston for the Giants. That's a guy I was really hoping the Eagles were going to look at. Decided not to go, went another direction there, but yeah, he's a guy that Giants are going to love. I think he can play special teams as well. So Giants got a good pick within the last couple of picks of the draft. So yeah, that was our little round by round draft recap. Great weekend. And we had a great time on Thursday night with the live broadcast, 4 hours of fun. Me and a bunch of my friends just hanging out, talking draft. And also just want to thank everyone. I mean, I know I texted the group the picture. I don't know what it was, if it was just because we had like 4 shows and like because we usually get like 11 downloads like in a week. And we got 248 downloads on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, everything last week. So thank you everyone that listened to the show on whatever platform there. And I appreciate all the love.
Yes, sir. Big ups, man.
But yeah, next Monday we'll be back. It'll be XFL Championship week. I'm so excited for next weekend. And USFL week 5. So we'll be going into the halfway point of the USFL season. We'll have all the USFL week 4 game recaps, as well as on Friday we'll be starting our divisional draft recaps. And so next Monday we'll be talking, or next Tuesday we'll be talking NFC East draft recap. Actually, I'm not sure if we're going to keep show on Tuesday or Monday. We'll have to talk about that. But yeah, next Monday, Tuesday, we'll be talking NFC East draft recap, going backwards from what we did the previews, the mock drafts in. So that's the show for today. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And we will see you all back for Football Friday.